So,
Yeah?
after you told me that you were disappointed with Nosferatu, I had a couple other friends also say they were very disappointed with Nosferatu.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then I had two others that said they loved it.
It's got a lot of mixed reviews.
Maybe it's the people that had really high expectations for it.
Maybe. I had
Or that
insanely
know the backstory a lot.
I had insanely high expectations for
You did.
Wicked, and it exceeded them.
No, you've had this expectation for this movie.
Here's what I think was part of it. He went to traditional folklore about vampires and the writings of people who believed they literally exist and how they described them to use that as everything. But that doesn't solve the okay story, a massive continuity mistake at the end, and the oddness of that creature being the way he was. It doesn't change any of that for me. Doom! Okay.
Hey, welcome back to our stupid reaction of Corbin.
I'm Nosferatu!
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter for more juicy content. Thank you to everybody who supports on Patreon. Follow us on our official Twitter account. Subscribe and hit that like button.
For the rest of this, I will speak like Count Orlok.
Who?
Count Orlok.
No idea what you're doing.
Talks like this throughout the movie.
Welcome back. Today we're doing a movie review.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh.
And today we're doing a review of the...
That's how he talked the whole movie.
Please stop.
It's actually a cool creation by Skarsgård. It's a cool voice creation.
Anyway, today we're doing a review of the 2024 Marathi movie.
That's the better vampire right there.
Phullwanti?
Phullwanti. It's what we have for breakfast. Phullwanti. Yes, Phullwanti.
And even though obviously this is you're seeing this in the year of our Lord 2025.
That's a 2024
is a 24 movie, and until I watch All We Imagine Is Light, which should be whenever it drops on Disney Plus, this will be included for
those two are included in the last year's
movie
list, which was 99, by the way.
Yeah. So basically, the only two remaining will be this one and All We Imagine Is Light for the 2024. So for next year's Corbin and Rick, even though this says 2025 on the upload date, it is a 2024 film. Anyways, but the Marathis wanted us to get to this. Obviously, I wanted to get to more Marathi movies, including new movies that we hadn't obviously been exposed to. So this will be 100% spoiler review because it came out a while ago. So if you haven't watched it, I think it's on Amazon, I believe. If you want to watch it, at least in India, I think it is. Other places, I don't know. Search. But it'll be 100% spoiler review, so if you haven't watched it, please go watch it and come back, and we will get into this. Now, it's directed by...
Snehal Tarde. Which, by the way, for spoilers, we almost always start off without spoilers, and then we'll get into the spoilers. So you can hear what we have to say about it at the outset. Yeah. We won't ruin anything for you.
And then
warn you when we get into the spoilers.
Written by
Pravin Tarde. Looks like they're related.
Related in some way.
I assume they are.
Composed by... two people.
Avinash Chandrachud and Vishwajit Joshi.
And starring...
Prajakta Mali, Kashmir Mahajani, Vaibhav Mangali.
Those are your main people there. And so, Rick, your initial thoughts of Phullwanti?
Yeah. First of all, because I know I got a message from a stupid baby who sent me a screenshot of some comments on some review recently where I had started adding the blue diamond. and I think it's really funny. I replied back to him laughing, and I said, man, for a bunch of people who are so good at math and engineering, you'd think this wasn't that complicated for them. So let's just make this really simple for those of you who are having a hard time with it. This is a silver for me. So what does that mean? It's pretty simple. Bronze was enjoyable, but I wouldn't watch it again. Silver means it's excellent, and I might watch it again. Gold means it's exceptional. I will watch it again. Platinum means it's extraordinary. And it's an all-time favorite that I'll watch over and over and over and over again. So it goes from enjoyable to excellent to exceptional to extraordinary. And obviously, if it's platinum or gold, it's going to have elevative aspects. But sometimes there's a bronze film that I might not watch again, but it's got some aspects in it that are elevative. That's why I've added a little blue diamond and say, okay, well, it's got some elevative things, but I might not watch it again. This started off for me in the first half as a bronze, and the second half became silver for me.
Yeah.
This for me was the second half. There's some things about it we can get into as to far as why I don't put it into a gold category, but that doesn't take away from it that I think that the movie is it's an excellent movie. There's some excellent performances. I am almost blue diamonding a couple of things because my favorite part of this is some of the acting that took place. Yeah. But that's my takeaway, and I might watch it again.
Yeah. I enjoyed this. It is a mixed bag in terms of not really in terms of like the acting, or there's some superlatives in terms of like actors.
That's my favorite part.
Dancing,
the dance is gorgeous.
The music. Some of the letdowns would probably be parts of the story that I thought were a little too simple. And then also the production almost felt, which is probably my least favorite part, it almost felt Disney-fied.
We're going to talk a lot about that.
And I'm guessing it's because production, in terms of cost, it's Marathi industry, so they don't have like, Sanjali Bansali money, or everybody kind of looked too. It looked like you were wearing a costume.
The word I had throughout for costume and production design,
like it was pretty,
was sterility. There was this. It felt like it all had been freshly made, freshly washed, freshly painted.
Which is what I mean by Disney-fied. They do that a lot.
And felt very much like it had, just been put up for the set and they're going to tear it down when they're done. It as much as it was doing its best, and I've read, because I did some research, I've read, for those who know, that they went to great detail to try to replicate this era.
Yeah.
And period. And you could see the effort. That's why it enters the realm of excellent. But I agree. It was quite sterile in terms of the look.
I 100% love, like, I believe that they did an excellent job in terms of recreating what they wanted to recreate, and it probably looked exactly like it. But it also didn't look lived in, even though I know.
Right,
I'm not even talking about the palace part. Obviously, that's
even the clothing didn't look lived in.
Pristine, and obviously all these clothes are supposed to be pristine. But you have to do it in a way that also looks lived in, even though it's pristine.
Correct.
Or it just looks like it's a costume on and so that kind of takes you out sometimes of like. And so that would probably be my biggest gripe with this.
Mine as well.
I have another gripe. That is, I will get to a little more later in the talk, but I want to talk about some of the stuff that I really did enjoy. The two main lead performances.
My favorite.
Fantastic.
That's the most excellent part of this for me that carries the film. Prajakta Mali, who plays the titular character, and Kashmir Mahajani, who plays Sastri.
Yeah.
I thought they were wonderful.
They both did an excellent job. She was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
when she was doing her thing, at the end of her dance, and she was like, "He called me a dance whore," or whatever he called her.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Why are you doing all this? You're kind of crazy."
I agree.
You could just be like, "He called me that. Make him say sorry." But she was like, "No, I will stop dancing."
Which, at the time you see that moment, you're thinking to yourself, "Okay, honey, take it down a notch," and it makes you recognize, and it gives you the payoff. Later, kind of a spoiler here, about a comment made and a carry through about your arrogance and your ego. You needed to be taken down a notch.
Yeah. Obviously, was the premise there. But I thought she did a very good job, even though like she was like going crazy. I was like, I believe her. I believe what like she's this angry.
I believed her every time throughout the thing. I believed her.
And then at the end when she kind of changed.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And she was like, I was like, why is she so happy right now? Why is she? Why? And like this kind of kept the mystery there, and I enjoyed that until the very end. And then him as well. I thought he didn't have a lot of dialogue. Honestly, it was probably pretty kind of non-dialogue heavy shoot for the gentleman, because he kind of was just standing there a lot of time reacting.
But he
conveyed a lot.
He did. He conveyed a lot. very expressive eyes, and he fully encapsulated the physicality of the regality of his character, as well as the morality of the guy. Because you're not too sure if he's as moral as he seems, especially since at the outset you're thinking to yourself, you called her a whore.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the guy's very upstanding.
Yeah.
And I just, they were, and I felt that they had much more to work with in the second half than they did the first half.
Yeah.
And
it was definitely a build-up in the first half.
The build-up. Sure, and that was one of the things where in the front half of it, it was a bronze for me. And I was thinking to myself, because you always think this when you're talking about the dramaturgy. You're thinking, what's at stake? Do I believe them is first and foremost. Do I believe them? How high are the stakes here? Is this really a high stakes thing and then do I care? And my first thought at the beginning was, if this is our main storyline, the stakes don't seem that high to me, and I don't know that I care. But I did in the second half.
Yeah, you definitely got more into it as it went on.
And I also thought in the second half.
His wife did a fantastic job.
Great job.
And also a very interesting aspect to the story that I thought was important to the story.
Yeah, the acting was my favorite part of the film.
The king also, I thought, did a very good job. I believed him.
Yep.
The dancing in this was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I 100% believe she was
It kind of had to be.
epic dancer. And the music itself was also very pretty. And
speaking of which, major kudos. My second favorite thing, right up there with the acting. Snehal Tardy, and if I'm mispronouncing your name, please forgive me, but you and your cinematographer and whoever was helping you with continuity, but particularly that, and Mayur Hadras, your editor, your attention to making sure that everything going on matched, her choreography, being in sync with the music, the instrumentation, the movement of people's hands, everything making it feel like what we were watching was happening live and in the moment, when certainly it was not. This was chopped up and shot at different times, was exceptional. Exceptional. I kept looking for any mistakes, because this is a really easy thing to screw up.
Yeah.
The speed at which they're playing, the speed at which they're singing, the tempo that they're dancing to, and making sure that every edit of camera is going to be still in sync with the music. That probably took them the most time of anything they had to do, in paying attention to shots on the day, and then also what the editor had to do in post.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Another one of my gripes was I thought the messaging was a little too on the nose at the end. Even though obviously I liked certain aspects of it, of it was her ego and all that, and I get all that, but there was a lot of just, I was like, I don't like being spoon fed like these moral messages. And maybe it would have hit differently if it's like very essential to like Hinduism, a lot of the stuff that they were portraying as well. Obviously a lot of it's just human in terms of, don't be so egotistical and all that kind of stuff. But I thought some of it, especially at the end, was like, bam, that's what we were trying to convey.
But
I don't like that.
I get it. I understand. I agree. I'm a bit more forgiving for it, because I do believe the story is intended to be, either from its origins or just from the intentionality with which it was written and directed, a morality play. And as a morality play, they're pretty on the beam. Yeah. That's the whole point of a morality play.
Yeah,
is to the whole point is everything is garnered toward, when the story is over, here was the moral to the story, and it's got to be pretty dang clear. That works for morality plays, and I think that's what this actually is.
It might be, it's Marathi.
So I'm a bit more forgiving in that regard, but as it pertains to believable storytelling, it falls a little short.
Yeah. And it very well, I mean, he's a scholar, so maybe he wanted to be extremely on the nose with, his messaging and what he was learning from.
I did like
all that, but it was just,
I did like the symbolism of our two main characters representing intellect and scholarly life, and artistic and passion life, and how they're often at war with one another, but they ought not be. That's probably my favorite thing in the story, is the representation of the fact that the two.
Did you new watch?
I did. I did get a new watch.
Yes, we don't. I've never seen that watch before, ever. Although there's no way he could have learned to play that well in a month. None whatsoever.
I don't know.
You can't become Zakir Hussain in a month. Okay, no one can.
That's true.
But obviously,
I was thinking that when he was playing. I was like, dang, for a guy who's just scholarly, he became a pretty good player.
well, he said he learned languages in a month, so he's just a really smart guy.
He's a smart dude.
Overall, though, I liked the movie.
I did too.
I enjoyed the movie.
I think it's an excellent
there was a lot
movie.
of
I'd watch it
really
again.
exceptional aspects to it. I just had some issues with production, and I realized not everybody's going to have the issue with the overall in-your-face message of it. I just like more subtle, or let the audience figure it out themselves. I never like being spoon-fed ever in a movie, because it makes me think that you think I'm stupid. I'm not stupid.
Right.
If I can quote Alexander Hamilton.
That's exactly where it went. He looked at me like I was stupid. I'm not stupid. How'd you do it? How'd you graduate so fast? It was my parents' dying wish before they passed. You were an orphan. Of course. I'm an orphan. God, I wish there... Oh, sorry. We could go on for the next 45 minutes.
But we're also going to get claimed.
Yeah, that's true. We will.
For a cover.
That's right.
But yeah, I think a lot of it was really, really nice and enjoyable, and a unique story. And it was a very Marathi story. In terms of art and scholarly kind of stuff. It just the production didn't feel Marathi, because I'm much more used to small Marathi.
Right. It had it was grand. It was grand. But that's the one thing I don't.
And I think that's one of the reasons it also looked Disneyfied, is because even though Disney does it because they have too much money, and they're just like, all right, everything needs to be beautiful. As opposed to them, if they had more money, they probably could have made everything look more lived in.
There's 3 things they probably could have done, and I don't know that they had the time, which also falls into budget.
Yeah.
So the first one we already talked about was things just didn't look lived in. Clothing, spaces, there was a newness to everything that felt freshly made, which doesn't work especially for a period piece. It never works for anything. Yeah. The second part of that would be it looked like it was filmed on video. It had that Disney feel of something shot on video.
Yeah.
Which that's on the day, the cameras you use. Again, it's a budgetary thing. And then when you do color correction at the end, you take those 3 things and you do them with a way that you've got the budget and the time. It's lived in, it's on film, or it's on a camera that's super, super high quality to make it almost look like it's in film, or even hyper film. And then you add the post-production, it gives it the Sanjay Leela Bhansali look, which you got to have a Sanjay Leela Bhansali budget. I get it.
Or a Rajamouli budget.
Right. Exactly.
Something. I don't know what their budget was, but I guarantee it wasn't that.
I bet if we knew their budget, we would be impressed. It still wouldn't take away from the fact that the sets and the costumes needed to be more lived in. That's all.
It says the budget was...
Oh, it's just giving box office numbers.
Collected 8 lakhs, which is 9,400. It's terrible. 1 crore. There's not a lot of information. I'm guessing because it's Marathi.
Right.
Budget 40,000. Oh, that's 2002 short film.
Yeah, that's
I was like, there's no way.
Film, no.
There's no way this film was done. Even though it might have had a small budget, this film was done with at minimum $1 million.
It could have been done with half that.
Yeah.
They could have done it with half that.
You think so?
Hence a lot of the
A
newness.
lot of the production was built, though. That's expensive.
It's a lot of production.
In India, it's different than here, but
Correct.
even still. But overall, nice film.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you thought about it. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, what your thoughts on it are. What should be our next Marathi film that we watch? Obviously, we need to get to a lot of Marathi films.
If you want to know what we've watched, by the way, just go to the playlist.
Yeah, I try to add... Everything should be on there, unless I missed it.
But it's broken down by industry.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, hey, how many Marathi films have we watched? Although
watch-alongs, I don't know.
It doesn't mean that they're all on there. If you really want to see everything we've ever watched, you got to be on Patreon.
Yeah, that's all on Patreon.
Yeah.
Anyways, let us know what you thought about the movie. What's for your next Marathi movie, and anything else we need to know down below.